All right, buddy.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell, and this is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And today I am so excited to do one of our token teaser segments. We're doing a live stream today with the communications director of the DevvE project, Austin. Thank you so much for being on the show today, man. Welcome.
Brad, so glad to be here, my friend. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm super excited about this. You know, we were talking a little bit off camera. I've actually been a fan of DevvE, you know, for multiple years now, and have actually, you know, got in on, you know, some of the private sale stuff that you guys did back in late 21, 22. And so I'm just as excited as all of my community is to, you know, kind of get some updates and see what you guys are really doing right now. It sounds like you've got some really exciting things on the horizon for your investors and your community.
Yeah, we do. And I see some of our community members here in the chat. Welcome, guys. I appreciate you following me over. So yeah, ready to rip into it whenever you are, man.
Awesome. So folks, we're doing the giveaway a little bit different today. We're going to do 4 $25 USDT giveaways. I did put the link to my BYDFI account in there. That's the easiest way. It's free for me to send you USDT if you've got a BYDFI account. So the link for the BYDFI is in the description. I also put it here in the chat. That should hyperlink you. Just takes an email and a password, totally free. If you live in the United States, there's no KYC, no VPN necessary. So if you create a BYDFI account, I'll get your UID number at the end of the show if you're a winner, and I'll be able to send you $25 in USDT right away. We're going to do that for 4 individuals. The way that you get qualified for the giveaway is during this stream, folks. Just put a hashtag DevvE into the chat, and that will get you qualified. So just so that there's no miscommunication here, let me show you exactly what we're looking for. Hashtag DevvE, just like I just put it into the chat, and that will get you entered into the drawing, so you guys don't have to guess my birth date and silly stuff like that.
Awesome.
All right, Austin. So let's get right into it. Feel free if you want to introduce yourself. Maybe, you know, tell the viewers a little bit about you and your background, how you got started in this crazy world of blockchain technology.
Yeah, happy to, Brad. So I got started in crypto back in 2017. Like most, anyone else that's come from the class of 2017, some people got in early, but a lot of us bought the top, right? I know I bought the top. And, you know, but there was something about it that was really intriguing. I started to teach myself how to build mining rigs, had a super hot garage for a number of years as I was mining Ethereum. Didn't ever make the fortunes I thought I was going to, but, you know, anyone that hangs out in crypto long enough, you end up being in the right place at right time if you don't go bust. And there was this little known token that was at 1/3 of a penny that was called Phantom. And really nobody knew about it at the time. You all probably know what that is now, but nobody knew about it at the time. And so I bought that at 1/3 of a penny, and anyone can go look at a chart to see where that went to. But I kind of got my start in the Phantom ecosystem. I had a channel called FTM Alerts that was, you know, fairly prominent in that ecosystem for a little while. Had a media company called Blockbytes. And, you know, one day somebody put in the DevvE chat, and I had been a DevvE token holder for a while, but somebody put in the DevvE chat, they were, you know, applications were open. So I sent in an application, and the head of operations got back to me. He said, "Hey, I'm actually familiar with your work. Let's have a phone call." And that was 9 months ago, and the rest is history. And here we are. So that's kind of my background anyhow, before getting into DevvE. But if you want to, jump in, we can jump in, man, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, let's jump right in. You know, I know that DevvE is kind of, you know, metamorphosed a little bit over the last couple of years. And so love to hear exactly what you guys have going on right now, what you're the most excited about. And yeah, just, you know, give everybody, you know, as much information about DevvE as you'd like.
Yeah, you got it, Brad. I will. And I want to tell everyone watching, if you're a native crypto person, right, like I was, I want you to do me a favor. Just put everything you think you know about cryptocurrency to the side for a minute. And I want to ask you, like, when was the last time you actually tried to onboard somebody? I got puppies too at home. When was that the last time you actually tried to onboard somebody into crypto? And I want you to really think about that, because my most recent one was my father. He wanted to buy DevvE. He's like, oh, you work for the company. I'll try and buy some tokens. How do I do that? Well, you know, being that we're in the United States, I can't send them to MEXC or Gate.io. They don't take United States people. And my dad is not a native crypto person, so he doesn't know anything about Uniswap, right? Everyone that's in here today has gone through a major learning curve to adapt to the world of crypto as we know it, right? So I told my dad, I said, go ahead and order a ledger. I go over to his house. I help him swap for his tokens. I set up his mnemonic phrase for him, and I turn my head for 1 second, and he pulls out his cell phone to try and take a picture of his mnemonic phrase. And anyone that knows anything about crypto knows you never put your phrase online. That's rule number one. But the reason I go through all of that with him, A, I'm security conscious, but B, right, to actually do crypto correctly in a way that won't get you jammed up, there's a huge learning curve that has to go on, right? But guys like my dad, you know, he's been trading equities for 40 years, right? He's a boomer, and the boomers are the ones with the money. But if they can't lay their head on their pillow at night and feel comfortable that their assets are safe, it's a really hard sell to get them into our world, right? And up until this point, it's been, this is how crypto runs. And if you want to be a part of crypto, you will adapt to the way that we do it, right? And real world assets have been a huge talking point lately, but I want to kind of, you know, at risk of stating the obvious, the real world assets live in the real world. And in the real world, there are certain ways that things need to be done, and they don't subscribe to the cypherpunk mentality that all of crypto does, right? And so DevvE is a purpose-built network that was built specifically with the enterprise end user in mind. And I'll start a little bit on the technical specs, and I'll weave us through to where we are today. And hopefully, actually not hopefully, I'll make you guys a promise. You know, my job in coming on here is not to get you to buy our token. I don't care. But my job on here is to get you curious enough about DevvE that you'll want to go further. And if you do want to go further, I'll make you a promise. This next year of your life is going to be incredible. So, all right, let's get into it. So DevvE, you can think of DevvE as a blockchain of blockchains, and we are hands down, bar none, the fastest chain on the market. We are clocked at 8 million cross-shard transactions per second, which is almost like a number that people go, that can't be real. Well, it is real. And we don't live in a world where 8 million transactions per second is even needed. But if you get where I'm about to take us, you'll see that we are living in a world where those types of transactions could be needed. So those are 8 million cross-shard transactions per second. And there's a few things that kind of make up the secret sauce of what DevvE is. So DevvE is a blockchain of blockchains, and every blockchain we refer to as a shard. Anyone that's been around crypto, you've probably heard of sharding, right? It's a database partitioning technique. And so essentially every blockchain is a shard, but what's really, really unique is when you look at other layer ones on the market, if you want to use, I won't name any but let's say you want to use a major layer one, you are beholden to the vision of the original developer, meaning you will code in the language they want, you will have the security that they have on chain, you will use their validators, you basically don't have a lot of pliability when it comes to that stuff. Well, every single shard can be completely customized to the end user specifications. And the end user in this case is not the typical crypto crowd. It's going to be your Fortune 100 companies. It's going to be major corporations who up until this point have not been able to use blockchain. And when I say it can be customized, what I mean by that is you can choose the validators, you can choose the algorithm that it uses. You can choose the security that you want. Do you have medical HIPAA data? We can handle that. Do you have GDPR data, which is very specific? We can handle that as well. Do you have governmental data? We can make a shard that works for that as well. These are very unique use cases that up until this point have wanted to avail of blockchain, but haven't been able to. Now, what is another piece of our secret sauce, and again, this is one of about 6 things I'm going to mention that make us unique, is something called our T1 connector. Now, earlier on, I mentioned that we have 8 million cross-shard transactions per second, which, as the name implies, are transactions that go cross-shard. Now, we have what we call our T1 connector, which is a cross-shard mechanism. And I want to kind of paint a little picture for you guys. So if you've ever used, let's say, Polygon or Avalanche, they have things called subnets and supernets, which are going to look and feel a little bit similar to our shards, right? What they're going to be is they're going to be independent blockchains that use the main consensus, right, to validate transactions generally. Let's say you're a game developer and you need, I don't know. Oh, did we lose? We lost Brad. There's Brad. Okay, cool. Let's say you're a game developer and you need, I don't know, 500 transactions per second, which is really where the EVM compatible chains generally max out at. You could deploy a subnet, and let's say your game gets really popular, right? And now you need 1,000 transactions per second. Well, if you've maxed out your subnet, you really got nowhere to go with the exception of deploying a second subnet. But because of the structure of how those work, you have to go through a bridging process. There's really no two ways about it, right? So you have a couple of options. You could, find the least cumbersome bridge possible and integrate with that, or you have to segment your users, right? Which is another huge problem. With our T1 connector, we have the ability to connect all of our shards in a seamless way and continue to provide a unified experience. That is really, really important. And that's going to play a role when we talk about Dev Exchange here in a minute. The other parts of our secret sauce are really important. So we hold multiple blocking level patents on privacy on chain, fraud, theft, and loss protection, self-sovereign identity, as well as some various algorithms that we have. But back to the story on my dad. So our fraud, theft, and loss protection back in 2017, when we actually put the patents in for this, we got information back from the patent office that's literally said no prior art, meaning nobody in crypto had ever thought about fraud, theft, or loss protection, right? This is really, really important. If you think of my dad trading on TD Ameritrade or Charles Schwab or something like that, right, it would be really strange to hear, oh man, I sent my stocks to the wrong address. Or, oh man, Charles Schwab's hot wallet got hacked last night, right? That's not something that happens in the world of traditional finance, but it is something that happens in crypto. And so when we're talking about real world assets with real world regulations backing them, do you think they're going to exist in a world where that sort of thing is possible? I would submit that they won't. And so with our fraud, theft, and loss protection, when you set up a wallet on DevvE, you can enable this, and it's called DevProtect. And it essentially allows you to pick certain features that you want to have. So for instance, if it's a storage wallet and nothing should be leaving it, right, you can set it up so that if assets do leave your wallet, you can claw them back within 30 days if you have the original private key. Or if, for instance, when I would set up a stock portfolio at a stock exchange, if I have an advanced directive, what happens when I pass away? That's information that they get because I want to make sure my wife gets my assets, right? Well, that's not something you can do generally in crypto. And God forbid I ever ask my wife to operate a ledger. We'd be in a lot of trouble. But when it comes to DevProtect, right, you can actually put all of these things in place. Now, they sound strange when you put the lens of traditional crypto on here, but when you put the lens of traditional finance on here, now they don't sound so strange. And here's the interesting thing. If all of these different layer ones, they're all competing for the same crypto crowd, right? And if that crypto crowd is, let's say, a hot tub, the crowd that we're competing for is the ocean. And we're one of the only companies that are allowed to play in there due to the architecture of our chain. Now, one of the other blocking level patents, and I'll pause after this, Brad, because I know I've been rambling on here for a second, is really, really important. And it's something that is absolutely essential in traditional finance, but a lot of things that a lot of people take for granted, right? So if I were to go down to Starbucks today, and I probably will because I like coffee, but if I were to go down to Starbucks and swipe my debit card for a Pike Place roast or whatever they call it, it would really, really be terrible if that barista working behind the counter could now see every single thing I used my debit card on in infinity, right? That would stink. But isn't that the way that crypto is? If I send you $1, Brad, you can put my address into a block explorer and see all the terrible meme coins I lost, the kids' college fund on, right? So there's a certain kind of privacy that in traditional finance we've come to expect. And it's absolute privacy with auditability. And the auditability for regulation is extremely important, right? This is not the privacy of Monero or Zcash, which use zero knowledge proofs and are uncrackable. It's the type of privacy that you would have with your bank. And this is really, really important. We hold a blocking level patent on that as well. Now, two more things. I'll keep it really, really brief. Our network is coded in C++, right? Now, if you think about Solidity, Rust, Move. These are purpose-built programming languages that were generally purpose-built for crypto or AI or some sort of technological advancement. C++, if you're a first-year programming student, you know C++, right? It is the first or second most popular programming language on Earth. And all transactions are initiated on DevvE through a simple REST API. So what does that actually mean? It means if you can code in Web 2, you can use DevvE. You need no new training, no retooling whatsoever. So when we go into an enterprise, when we go into a government office and we have multiple governments that we're working with, every other chain on the market goes in and says, this is our chain, adapt your system to make it work, and you can use blockchain. And they go, that's going to cost millions. It's going to erase the financial benefit we're going to get. When we walk into the office, we say, how would you like it done? We will build our chain to suit you. And that's the difference. And why can we do that? Not only was it built that way from the beginning, but we hold the blocking level patents on it. So we're the only ones that are going to be able to do it. So I'll stop there for the time being, Brad, because I know I went on quite a bit.
Awesome, man. No, I really appreciate all of the details. And it just, reminds me of why, I'm involved in crypto. So I know that a lot of your community is here. So just real quick, folks, I'll give you the 30-second background on me. I have a dad that was involved in crypto very much like yours. Unfortunately, he passed away about 1.5 years ago, but he loved cryptocurrency. But the other thing that he loved was freedom. He always taught me to be entrepreneurial. He believed that God didn't put us here on this earth to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, for 40, 50, 60 years of our life just to exist. And so he always taught me to be looking to create freedom in my life. And, that basically comes down to not trading time for dollars. And so I got involved in crypto the same time as you, in about 17, in the beginning of 18, like right at the peak of that market, because I watched a buddy of mine turn $10,000 into 2.2 million during that bull run. And that got me excited about crypto. And so I jumped in full force. And, thank God I was able to do enough things right in 18, 19, and 20 that when we had the last bull market at the end of 20 going into 21, that created some financial freedom for me. I was actually a poker dealer of all things. I lived in Las Vegas. I was a poker dealer at some of the most famous casinos on the Strip, the Venetian, the Wynn. But I was able to walk away from that and go, full time in crypto. And it's been an incredible blessing. But one of the things that you talked about that I really wanted to bring back to, everybody's attention was, in my opinion, there's so many cryptocurrency projects that don't really need to exist. Like when you look at them, you're asking yourself, like, what real world problem does this blockchain or does this project actually, solve? And with so many projects out there, when you really look at it from that standpoint, there's a lot of them that don't need to exist. And one of the things that I love about DevvE is that you guys are solving some massive real world issues. And, let's all face it, you can make a few dollars in a meme coin tomorrow or next month. But I think all of us would rather have our money invested in the Amazons and the Microsofts and the Apples of the cryptocurrency industry, so that 10, 20, 30 years from now, we've created just absolutely legacy wealth for our families. And it sounds like DevvE's kind of on that mission too.
Well, an interesting thing. So I was on a panel, I don't know, a couple of months back, and God bless this girl. I really like her. She was super sweet, but she said, I think crypto is getting real adoption because, in the new iPhone, everyone has access to USDC. And I want to tell you, hands down, unequivocally, I own an e-commerce company, and we have a pay with crypto option. And if 1 in maybe 300 pay with crypto, I would be surprised. And why do you think that is? It's because MasterCard and Visa are a heck of a lot easier, right? And so I would submit that, unlike her thesis that mass adoption is happening because more people have access to USDC, I think mass adoption is going to happen when a couple of things happen. One, it must improve the lives of the user. End of story. It must improve the lives of the end user. As of right now, many crypto projects are a hammer in search of a nail, meaning they're a solution in search of a problem, right? Instead of a custom built solution for a massive problem that exists, which I'm going to get into with you in just a minute. Second thing I think is going to happen is this. One industry where mass adoption was talked a lot, if you're old enough, like like I assume you are, Brad, and I am, to remember when the internet was not even a thing, right? There are a couple pieces of really, really important tech that go into the internet, such as DNS, HTTP, TCP/IP. These are pieces of tech that we use every single day in using the internet. But do you understand how they work? I really don't, unless you're a tech guy, right? It would be really funny if I went home tonight and my wife said, "What'd you do at work?" And I said, I used internet today. Whoa, that's amazing. No, I would never say that because it's implied, right? When mass adoption happens, the use of it simply will be implied. In fact, people may not even know that they're using that technology. That's when mass adoption is going to happen, right? And so for that to really happen, is it the sort of thing where we start, standing on stages and screaming in megaphones, telling the rest of the world to come join us, but don't click bad links. Oh, and get yourself a hardware wallet. Oh, and you need to learn how to use a decentralized exchange. And no, that's not going to work. Right? Because the people like you and me, Brad, will do this, and I don't know you well enough to put that on you, but I assume you're a lot like me. Right. So we'll do this sort of thing, right? Because we'll nerd out and we'll get into the minutia of what this is all about. My father's not going to. He doesn't care. He's looking for a new financial vehicle to continue his investment thesis. And if this financial vehicle doesn't allow him to feel safe and secure in his assets, he's not going to do it. Right now, this takes us forward a little bit to where we have a really, really big focus, which is something called DevvE Exchange. Do you mind if I touch on that a little bit, Brad? Okay.
No, so we had a few. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. All right. So real world assets, we talked about those a lot, and there's a lot of big projects that have tokenization schemes and different real world assets that they're working with, and some of them are very, very good, right? But like I said earlier, real world assets live in the real world. Right. And those generally fall under strict regulations, which means they're not going to be able to live much of the time on your general public chains. Right. Okay. Because of the customizability of every single shard, because our network is coded in C++ and it integrates through a simple REST API, because of our fraud, theft, and loss protection, and because of our privacy on chain. Again, we hold the blocking level patents on these. We bring a cup of secret sauce that is very attractive to regulated industries. Now, one of the biggest regulated industries is obviously going to be traditional finance, right? And when we're talking about traditional finance, what are we talking about? We're talking about equities. We're talking about commodities. We're talking about potentially real estate. In the case of ESG, we're talking about impact assets. We're talking about kind of any regulated financial product that would be considered potentially a security that you can think of, right? But for those types of real world assets to actually make it on chain, they're going to have to do so in an environment that has a couple of things. One, obviously, naturally, it has to have the privacy. Two, it has to have the security that the regulators demand. Three, if you've ever been bowling with a 4-year-old like I have, right? What do? You put on the bumper lanes because that 4-year-old's going to throw it right in the gutter. No question about it. And my dad was going to throw his crypto portfolio right in the gutter. He needs bumpers on his lanes to keep him from doing that. That's what our fraud, theft, and loss protection does. You take all of these and put these together, and what we're creating is something called DevvE Exchange, and I want to tell you what it is. It's not a crypto exchange. Crypto will be involved, but it's an equities exchange. It's a commodities exchange. It's a crypto exchange, but it's also an impact asset exchange, carbon credits. It can, anything with a value that can be tokenized can be traded on DevvE Exchange. So when you look at some of these real world asset tokenization projects, and they're great, they're generally not exchanges, right? They're tokenization projects. They're going to need an exchange to trade on, and that exchange is going to have to be lightning fast. It's going to have to be completely customizable. And the reason is cross-jurisdictional compliance is an absolute necessity. And what I mean by that is this: because of our sharding mechanism, what we're able to do is when we launch DevvE Exchange, we're able to go to countries and say to them, how would you like your shards built to your regulation? And I'll explain this a little bit deeper and why this is such a game changer before I get into some of the other things. So everyone on here is familiar with Binance, right? Binance.com is the great white whale of crypto exchanges. And they're wonderful. They have a wonderful platform. And up until about 2018, you probably know this, Brad, we could trade on Binance, couldn't we? Because, they just kind of let it happen. And then you get into 2018, 2019, and the regulators start making a huff. And they go, well, we don't want to lose the US business. So what did they do? They created Binance.us. Have you ever traded on Binance US, Brad?
You know, I never created an account. I had a couple of Binance EN accounts that I used with a VPN, but when they kicked out the United States citizens, I never went and created one of their US accounts.
Well, I want to tell you what happened with Binance US, and it's not a bad platform per se, right? But what happened is they went, so in the United States, to be a money transmitter business, you actually have to get a license from every single individual state. It's a huge pain in the butt. So they went around, they got their states. As soon as Florida became available, I signed up for an account. And you know what I found out? The liquidity on there stunk. And why did it stink? Because they segmented off only the US population and only the ones that were willing to go on there. So they had to segment off their people, right? Binance.com still had all the great liquidity, but Binance US had a terrible liquidity. Unless you were trading Bitcoin or Ethereum, it was hard to get an order filled. You had to move the market way past and get the bots to buy. It was a terrible experience. They also set up Binance Jersey and a bunch of different iterations. And the reason that they did that is because they could not adapt Binance.com to be jurisdictionally compliant to everywhere that they were servicing. And even today, Binance is running into legal issues, okay? With DevExchange. Now, here's the thing about DevExchange. DevExchange, you always maintain self-custody. So you get the security of a DEX. You get the experience of a centralized exchange. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting shards in each individual jurisdiction. Now, if you were on subnets, that wouldn't work because you'd have to go through a bridging process. But because of our T1 connector, if somebody comes to our site and they want a KYC and they live in Estonia, right? We'll put a shard in Estonia. And so that person would go in the Estonia shard. Or if somebody's Japanese, they'll go in the Japan shard. If somebody is American, they'll go in the United States shard. Now, that keeps the regulators happy, but you get a seamless user experience on the front end. You don't even know that you're being segmented in the back end. So you've got lightning fast execution. You've got complete self-custody. You've got full regulatory adherence. Now, here's the biggest part. And this is something I really want to hammer home to our watchers here. So we have very specific technology that actually eliminates counterparty risk. And I want to explain to you guys what this is. So we use something called contingent transaction sets. And essentially what they are is what you'll do is if you want to execute a trade, you'll sign a transaction, the assets will stay in your wallet. And if all the parameters of your transaction are met and all the parameters of the counterparty are met, the swap will happen in the exact same block. You have mathematically instant settlement. And this happens at the consensus level of our network, meaning it's not done through a smart contract. We are removing that risk factor immediately out of it. And nobody can do this unless you have your own layer one. Okay, let's keep this going. So because of these two factors, we completely remove counterparty risk. Now, most of the people watching here probably don't know what counterparty risk is. And I want to kind of break this down because in the world of traditional finance, this is a multi-trillion-dollar problem that's happening. So if you were to go to, let's say, I don't know, Robinhood, right? And you want to trade a stock. Let's say you want to spend $100 on GameStop or something, whatever, right? You spend your $100 and it's going to give the appearance that that stock is moving into your account. But here's really what's happening. There's a seller who wants to sell at that price. You're the buyer who wants to buy at that price. And there's a clearinghouse under the hood that's essentially doing the matchmaking of all of these. And if you can imagine one stock trade, right? Imagine millions upon millions every single day. These settle at something called T+2 settlement, which is the time of execution plus 2 days, okay? That actually creates a massive counterparty risk to the exchanges themselves because there's massive collateral that has to be put up. And there's a company, there's multiple clearinghouses, but there's one called the DTCC, which I believe is over in Tampa here in Florida, who settled $470 trillion worth of securities last year. Trillion with a T, right? Now, if you think back to the 2008 crisis, now this float's always happening, right? This T+2 settlement's always going on, and 95%, 99% of the time, right? 99.9% of the time, it all works out fine. But if you go back to 2008, you know who else was holding a lot of counterparty risk? Lehman Brothers. Yeah, and we all know what happened with Lehman Brothers. They went belly up. So when the word got out on Wall Street that Lehman Brothers was going belly up, everyone was all hands on deck. facilitating this counterparty risk to keep our financial infrastructure in place. And they did a fair job, but they didn't do a perfect job, right? So everyone knows that counterparty risk is a big, big issue in the world of traditional finance. We offer T0 settlement. We offer instant settlement. We offer every asset, once it's tokenized, it's in your wallet, it goes to the next wallet. Now in crypto, we think, well, yeah, of course we can swap on a DEX. You know, we don't really experience that counterparty risk, right? And we really don't in crypto. And that's the beauty of crypto. And all these giant stock exchanges have known that counterparty risk is largely eliminated in crypto, but they've never had a network that's fast enough, that's compliant enough, and that has all the features needed, which we have the blocking level patents on, to facilitate these types of assets being swapped on chain. Now they can. We have partnered with one of the largest financial service companies in the world. Everyone watching this knows their name, and soon enough, everyone's going to know who that is. And they are our partner in DevExchange. And as a result of that partnership, massive doors have opened for us, right? And that's one part of what we do. But the DevvE token is ubiquitous throughout this entire process, meaning on DevExchange, every single swap goes through the DevvE token. If you want to swap from, I'll use crypto terms, but if you want to go from BTC to Ethereum, excluding the technological part that I put, it goes from BTC, DevvE to Ethereum in that way, right? So everything you can do with BNB on Binance, you get with DevvE as well. Plus, every single trade is facilitated through the DevvE token. This is a massive deal when you start thinking in bigger numbers than we're used to, because just equities alone are a $2.4 quadrillion per year market, which is, I can't even wrap my head around how big of a market that is, right? So, and this is just one use case of the DevvE token. We're also working with multiple countries to handle their ESG, and I won't get too much into impact assets because we don't have time. No, it's not Binance, Esther. Sorry, I saw her question. I figured I would answer it. But we have multiple countries that we're going to be announcing as well here fairly shortly, that we're working with. And so DevvE is, again, I'll make you the same promise I made at the beginning of the stream. If you get curious and you tug on this thread a little bit, 2025 is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time.
Man, that sounds exciting. You got me ready to just jump off the stream and go buy some. Do you have any type of ballpark date at all when the DevvE exchange is actually going to go live to the public yet?
Yeah, so I have a ballpark date, but that's an internal date. That's an internal date, right? So we're going to be doing a series of releases here fairly soon that are going to outline a lot of here's what the future looks like and here's where we're driving. I will say, just between you and me, Brad, our community has done a very good job at sleuthing some things out. So if you join any of our channels, you'll probably wrap your head around what's going on. So yeah, 2025 is going to be great.
Awesome. And then mentioning your channels, I put the link to your website, the link to your Twitter, the link to your Telegram in the description of the video. Are those the best places for my community to come and become a part of your community?
Yeah. So there's an official Telegram, and then we have oh my God, we have a huge ambassador program, which I've been neglecting because of the holidays. I apologize, guys. But we also have many multilingual various channels. If you're in the UK, we have a really cool UK group. Big shout out to Craig, who's watching right now. And we've got multiple, I don't know what you want to call them, splinter cells that are not official channels. But if you go in the official channel, you'll go ahead and get the information for those other channels. And that's where, I call them my Illuminati friends, because that's when they really get into the minutia of trying to suss out what we're talking about. And if you were to watch all the interviews I did over the last 9 months, you'd be able to suss it out. But yeah, we're, unfortunately, when it comes to TradFi, especially dealing at this level, and I know in crypto we hear this all the time, but this is actually what we're doing. There's a different timeline that's involved. There's different parts of the agreements that are involved, and you guys will kind of get a handle on what I'm talking about here very soon. And I can't wait until the conversation you're having is, how were you able to partner with them and exactly what are they doing with you? Because that be a little less cloak and dagger than I have to be at this point. But
right. Awesome. Now, well, you mentioned earlier that you don't care whether they buy the token or not. And while I appreciate that, this is a cryptocurrency investing channel. So I do want to just run over here real fast to CoinGecko and just show them where it's available. And folks, this is kind of the part of the show where, I want to give out the disclaimer. This is not financial advice. Nor, neither Austin or I are financial advisors. This is all just educational and entertainment content. My views on DevvE are definitely not necessarily Austin's, views. So having said all of that, though, I do want to run over here to CoinGecko and show you, one of the reasons that we brought this token onto the stream is because here at Infinite Crypto, we're really excited about the possibilities and what could potentially, come over the next handful of months and the next handful of years. As you can see here, it's up about 20% for today, sitting at about $100 million market cap. To me, that shows that it's done some things right. There's, probably 95, maybe even 99% of cryptocurrency projects that never get to $100 million in company worth. So I like that about them. And then one of the other things that's kind of nice, if you go here to the markets, folks, you can pick this token up. If you do your research, you do your due diligence, and this is something that you want to invest your hard-earned funds into, you can get it on Gate, you can get it on MEXC, LA token. And then like Austin said, for us that are a little bit more, have dived deeper down the rabbit hole and like decentralized exchanges, you can get it right here on Uniswap. So I don't want to spend too much time on the token, but I did want to, just kind of go over that briefly so that everybody that was watching had an opportunity. If they want to go grab some tokens, you guys know how now.
Beautiful. I appreciate you showing them that, Brad.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to cover about the project before we give away $100 and let these guys get back to their day?
I'll be honest, you could probably turn me loose for an hour and I wouldn't stop talking if you gave me the opportunity. But no, I think we hammered home some good stuff today. And for, I love our community just because they are such diehards. And up until this point, it's my job to paint or help paint the vision of what we're driving towards, right? And at times that's a little bit more difficult than I would wish that it could be, just due to NDAs and due to certain things that we can and cannot say due to partnerships. And our community has just done a wonderful job at sleuthing. But even more so, like I put the link in a little Telegram and they like kind of follow me where I go. And I just love them for that. And so big shout out to the DevvE community, and Brad, I appreciate you having me on so much, buddy.
Yeah, I'd like to give a big shout out to the DevvE community too. You guys showed up and really, took over the stream. It's been fun watching all of the chat. And, that's a huge selling point on this project too, folks, because in business in general, community is commerce. But folks, in crypto, community is everything. And so you guys have really shown that you love this project and that you're excited about it. And I'm pretty sure that my Infinite Crypto community is going to be excited about it after watching this interview too. So I'm looking forward, folks. Go click that link in the description. Go get and become a part of their Telegram group. If you're part of my channel, you're part of the Infinite Crypto family. Let's go get into their Telegram group and show them some love. Go follow them on Twitter. And, potentially, go get some of these tokens. We're going to highlight DevvE again on our Wednesday Microcap Gem crypto live stream that we do every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern. And, with that, let's get over to the page and let's see if we can find 4 winners for this $100 giveaway. Let's get over to that page. We're going to run back over here to this view and click over here. Hopefully I did this right. This was actually okay. Look at this. We got 75 entries, and we're still on
CoinGecko.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. There we go. That should have done it.
There we are.
So, folks, we're gonna give you just a few more seconds if you're new to the stream. If you didn't hear it in the beginning, in order to qualify for this giveaway, just put a hashtag DevvE in the chat. just like you're seeing here. Just put hashtag DevvE in the chat. We'll close it out here in a minute or two. I got a quick question for you, Austin. Is there a way for me to draw all 4 winners at one time, or is it just going to be one at a time?
So I think you got to hit draw, and then you got to hit draw again, and you have to kind of like record who the winners were. If I recall correctly,
that works good for me. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do a little 10-second countdown timer, and then hit draw for the first time. So we're going to see who the first $25 winner is. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, draw. Oh man, I love this thing, man. I'm so glad that you were able to show this to me. So we got Dougie Collinson. Now, folks, you got to be here still. So this is for the folks that are on here live. So Dougie, if you are still with us here on the channel, please say something in the chat for me so that I know that you are here. The other thing that's super important, folks, the USDT is going to be given out to those of you that create a BYDFI account so that I can send it to you for free. Once you got it on the BYDFI platform, you're welcome to move it and take it and put it wherever you want to do with it. But this is the link right here to create your BYDFI account so that you can get me your unique user ID number, and I can send it to you. This link is also in the top of the description of this video, so you can find it in both places there. And then let me get back down here. Did Dougie ever say anything? So we're going to give Dougie a couple more minutes. I'm going to go ahead and draw the next person. I've got his name recorded, but if he doesn't show up here in the next minute or two, then we're going to replace him with a 4th winner. You do got to be on here live right now in order to win. So we're going to go up here and hit the draw again button. Yeah, you don't know how much easier you just made my life. Mika Schmidt, if you are still here, please let us know in the chat. And I'm going to just go ahead and do the next draw while we're waiting for Mika. Folks, I do a lot of giveaways on my recorded videos too, where you watch the recorded video and then all you have to do is go in and make a comment. I usually let you know right in the beginning of those recorded videos that we're doing a giveaway, so you know. But if you missed out on this live stream giveaway, we do a lot of giveaways on our regular recorded videos also. So Steve is our 3rd winner. And let's go ahead and draw for the 4th winner, and then we'll get back into the chat and see if anybody's actually raised their hand and is still here. So McLean Batong. All right, there are 4 winners. Has anybody showed up in the chat yet?
Yeah, Steve and Mika have both showed up.
Well, awesome. Okay, cool. So Steve and Mika, what I want you to do is once you create your BYDFI account, this is what I want you to do for me. Go to YouTube. I'm going to pull this up real quick while I'm talking. I guarantee you, if I don't do it this way, there's going to be 8 people messaging me with a BYDFI UID number saying that they're Steve. And so the way that I can differentiate you guys is I need you to go into your YouTube bio. So I'm pulling this up. My screen's loading a little bit slow. Once I get it where I want it, I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. I'll change my view. But I want you to go to YouTube. And then, yeah, I should be able to share this tab now. So you guys should be looking at the home page of my screen now. Yep. Okay. So when you get to your YouTube channel, you're going to have this bio right here too. Yours might be blank, or maybe you've got a little bit of something in it. But all I want you to do is just go edit this bio and put your BYDFI user ID number in there, and then I can go back and make sure that it's you, and I will send you the $25 when we get off the stream. You're also welcome to, make a comment on this video outside of the live chat when the video's over. If you go into just the static comments, you can make a comment there and let me know that it's done, and I will get those funds to you. So you said that Mika showed up and Steve showed up, right?
And McLean Batong also showed up.
And McLean is there. Okay, so far the only person is Dougie. Is that correct?
Looks that way. Yeah, I haven't seen old Doug. Old Douglas.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and draw one more winner here then.
Still on the YouTube on this side.
Oh, okay. Let me click back over.
There we go.
Got
Bjorn.
Just in time. Bjorn Peters. Are you still here, Bjorn? Get down here. Bjorn, are you still here? Please, can I buy DevvE from Binance? Not yet, but that wouldn't surprise me if that happens someday, Esther. Bjorn, there you are. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. You are the winner of $25 in USDT. So with that, I think everybody, let me get you back to where you're here too. I think everybody should, have the process. Go create your BYDFI account, and then put put your UID number in your bio, and then it would help me if you put a comment on the video in the static portion of the video, just saying, hey Brad, that's done, so that I can get over and verify everything and get your funds sent to you. But with that, Austin, man, I really had a great time today. I'm really looking forward to doing a lot more coverage of this project on the channel. So definitely looking forward to being a part of helping this grow and become, as big as it potentially can be.
Amazing. Brad, thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. I'm sure you'll be back when the exchange goes live and any new updates are coming out. We'll definitely get you back here on the show. You were one of my favorite guests.
I appreciate it. Happy to join anytime.
All right, guys. Well, awesome. Thank you all so much for being here. Look forward to seeing you again. If you're part of the DevvE community, I hope you subscribe to the channel, and you'll get a lot more content from me coming out about this great project. So thank you all for being here. Have a fantastic day, and we will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.